Ordinary Angels, a film
Ordinary
that,
Angels.
Sean, you have seen as a preview screening, and
Yeah.
I have heard absolutely nothing about. So tell us what this is about.
Okay, so this story's based on a story of as a chap, and his wife dies, and he's got two daughters. He's left with two daughters. One of the daughters got a kidney sort of problem, and he's gotten a lot of debt, and he can't afford and everything. And then there's this hairdresser, this Hilary Swank plays a hairdresser who's she's a bit of a lush. She likes the old alcohol and all that, and
Oh yeah,
she's got a friend. She's got a friend who says, you should go to this meeting and stuff, and she sort of turns up and says, oh yeah, you've got to find some sort of purpose in life and all that. And then she sees this advertised about the young girl that needs the kidney transplant, and she decides she's going to go and help him. Well, he's like super grumpy, and he's like, well, I don't really need your help and all that. But she goes, oh no, I'm good at this, and she organises stuff. She organises, charity events. She goes around. And so it's this story, and it does give her a little bit of a purpose. And but then one day she's looking. He says, "Oh, will you look after we look after the kids because he gets on quite kids." But she spies a bit of drink, so he comes home, finds her a little bit the worse for wear, should we say? And he's like, "I don't need your help, don't blah blah blah." But anyway, it still carries on, and then other bits and bobs happen, and she ends up sort of still. She goes to the TV stations, and the chap's got a job. He comes home, he sees all these TV stations. She's trying to raise more money, obviously, but he goes, "I don't want them in my house, and I don't want them. Get them out. Why are you doing all this?" So he's a grumpy, surly little old soul.
mm-hmm.
And then it's all sort of, a transplant's come up. You've got to get to this place in 3 hours or whatever it is, and so then it's just like mobilizing all the forces to, because there's a big whiteout, big blizzard, so nothing's flying. The nearest airport's this, that, and the other, and he decides he's going to go out in the truck and try and make it with his daughter, so she can have this transplant. Gets stuck, and then all the people turn up, and they go and out. Pretty much what's in the trailer, really, and they manage to get him. Oh yeah, we've got the station helicopter that's going to get you, and it's like, okay, so now, so that's basically the story. So
yeah, I'm looking at the poster and all the advertising for this film, and it has a feeling of a Hallmark movie that they have just managed to get like A-listers in.
I was thinking about Holly, what she was saying about that other one with how she was like so nice and enjoying it. This super smulchy. Yeah, it was like this super smulchy thing. I liked it at the start. This was like a film of two halves, shall we say? It was. I mean, Hilary Swank was amazing as always. I love her. I think she's a great. That is her name, isn't it? That's the actress name. I've got the right actress.
Yeah. Hilary Swank.
She
Hilary
is brilliant.
Swank, starring opposite Jack Reacher, no less.
Jack Reacher, yeah. Who, for me, I thought sucked as an actor. I really don't. I was like, so I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know if other people like him in that, but I just did not. I mean, he's like times where he's like crying and stuff. No, what are we going to?
I like him in Reacher.
Do you? Yeah, loads of people like Reacher. I've only ever seen one episode of Reacher, and that was when I was over on my travels, which was just
that's when somebody made you.
Lots of people like that Reacher, but I mean, people may have different ideas about this film. I'm pretty certain that probably the girls, and I don't mean this in any, besides that you might enjoy it, Sharon. You might enjoy this movie, but I was
going to ask, does it have any sort of spiritual connotations? Would you say it was like an inspirational film in that regard?
Well, there is a scene where he obviously, there's a little bit of faith in there about he loses a bit of faith. So let's say, because there is a church, obviously, where he's a bit of a church, and there does come a bit about, they go, oh, nice to see you again, nice to see you back and all that. So yeah, there is a little bit of.
I was just thinking the actor who plays Jack Reacher, I can't think of his name at the moment.
Alan Ritchson.
Alan Ritchson, that's it. Ritchson. He is a Christian, so I know that he probably does do sort of Christian films as well.
Right, okay.
Yeah. That was it. Okay, Ordinary Angels is a 2024 American faith-based drama film.
Yeah.
So, because everything about the advertising of this film and the advertising of this film, the sort of like praises that Sean was giving me those sort of vibes. It was giving me those sort of
Giving me
like
the same vibes.
it was giving those sort of vibes, which and I stand by. I know, like even as a Christian myself, I stand by the whole Hallmark movie, which they have managed to convince major stars to be in.
Yeah.
I think often you'll find that because there is we don't see it in this country because it's just not a thing, even amongst churchgoers. Like Toes and I, we know we are regular churchgoers. It's not a thing here, but in America, faith-based anything is huge.
Yeah.
Having said that, Sharon,
it's a big thing.
Having said that, when I was up in Enfield, and I did a job once up in Enfield, I dropped some people off, and I decided to go to the cinema in Enfield. Huge, massive cinema. I think there's like, I don't know, 24 screens, but the whole bottom floor was all Christian movies, and they had a church in the cinema.
Oh, wow.
It might have been,
that in places like Enfield, that is
It's more likely to happen. Yeah,
that's standard. And I
mean,
bet you that the church was
Sunday.
majority black.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, it was packed. It was absolutely packed, and the films they were showing were obviously faith-based films, Christian-based films. You know.
Yeah.
But it was like a whole church. They had, because it was quite nice, because they had a squash and a biscuit. You know, they had like tables. And
we know. Toes and I, we've been there.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah,
Sure. I've set things up like that. I've set things up like that.
So it's like, I was
Squash
like,
and a
oh, yeah,
biscuit
hi,
sounds just exactly what we would have after church.
Thank you very much. But it was, I mean, I did see there that they you know, that it was, as I say, the whole floor with the cinemas that were on that floor were, you know, and they obviously had children's movies there and stuff, and so but anyway, back to this Ordinary Angels. There is faith in it. It's to do with faith and all that.
So
I found it a little bit too schmaltzy for me.
Well, to be
a
honest,
little bit too gushing and like.
The other one of the young actors is called Skywalker.
yes, I saw that Skywalker.
They tell you what, they used to say. I used to think some of the small children were really bad, awful actors, but they're starting to come into their own. No, I mean, I was surprised at that. That's the one bonus. They played the parts really well.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that you see has improved over time. That like with anything over time, the standard of child acting has improved.
Yes.
So,
definitely.
how many stars would you give Ordinary Angels?
I'll probably give it a 3. Probably give it do you know what I mean? It was a little bit too smolchy. I'm pretty sure, Sharon, you would probably enjoy this movie, but Hilary Swank was brilliant. Oh, right, okay, good.
Sharon, I'm glad to hear you say that, because quite frankly, even as a Christian, I avoid these kind of films like the plague.
Absolutely. Yeah. If I have
avoid them like the plague.
There's a ladies' fellowship group in my church where we all the ladies sort of get together, and sometimes we'll have like a film night, and often they'll choose like one of these sort of Christian sort of faith-based, and I hate them. Hate maybe is a strong word. I can take them or leave them, and I would generally, if I had the choice, I'd leave them.
Okay, I would say, probably in that case, yeah.
I'm the same thing about Christian fiction, though.
Sharon, you have mentioned, I think you've just mentioned my kryptonite. So
it was very too much. It was too much, but the acting by Hilary was brilliant.
It's the same with faith-based books. I must admit, I rarely read those as well, of a certain type, because they're just saccharine.
I'll tell you something.
And I don't feel like they don't feel real to me. And I think faith needs to be real to be.
Have you ever read any Francine Rivers? The Francine Rivers historical fiction?
No.
I think.
I've read some that's set around like the Roman times when Christians are being fed to lions, and I really like those.
Okay.
I really like those.
Christians fed to lions. Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's all actually. There's one story that's all
I've read some of her like historical romances, and I was a bit like, just stop.
It was a bit romantic.
Maybe those might be a bit more authentic. So yeah, that's better.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Christians being fed to lion's stain, and like what it was like being a Christian at that time, and then like a gladiator, and I actually really like that. But Ordinary Angels. So 3 stars for Ordinary Angels. Something else I was gonna. Oh, that was it. Sharon, were you around when the whole thing about Fireproof happened? There was a film called Fireproof starring Kirk Cameron, and there was a bit where every church up and down the country seemed to be like, "Oh my God, you've got to go see this film! It's the most amazing film about relationships ever!" And I'm sorry.
Yes, I was Yeah, there's the one with Jim Caviezel that's quite that was a big phenomenon. And I know there's a lot of pressure on us to go, you have to see this film.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
a Christian if you don't see this film.
Yep,
like,
yep. I've heard that, and I hate that.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm no. That'll make me go, no, thank you.
No, thank you. I've got better things to do with my time. But if there's anytime, I know it might sound like a terrible thing to say, but anytime a church starts raving about a film, I just want to run in the opposite direction as far as I want to pull a Jonah and just go jump in a whale. But anyway,
I'm very similar. Yeah, I'm thinking if it's a good film, it's a good film. You don't have to,
No.
yes,
take the three-line whip to make us go and see it. If it's a good film, it'll stand up on its own 2 feet.
Exactly what I think. Sharon, I am so happy to hear you say that.
That's right.
We should have a therapy session. But anyway,